witnessing waste turn into something incredibly valuable and nourishing. How can that not be joyful? And how can that not create hope? My master's was in behavior change. My dissertation was about narrative framing, stories about composting in the community.
And we were lucky enough to combine your master's with the project that we're doing with the co-op, the Carbon Innovation Fund. Explain a little bit about the research that you did, and then we'll talk more about what you found. You spoke to a few different community composting projects like ours, didn't you?
I spoke to 8 projects about how they were overcoming barriers, negative perceptions that people often associate with it, pests or smells or it being dirty, access to physical resources, and also legislative and structural barriers, whether it be access to bank accounts or the knowledge of what they were legally allowed to do with bits of land or how to engage with volunteers.
Responding to those barriers was a key reason we created the Community Compost School, and the curriculum of that 2-day program is how we solve those problems, but also space to contemplate ways to respond, which include narrative framing and storytelling.
All those barriers that you listed, these things have to be thought about, but they do also have to be communicated that you're doing something about them. This is how we're minimizing rodents on our site. That can be useful for home composters too. Like, oh, I could do that in my back garden. But there's different ways of telling, isn't there?
A few anchors were really helpful. One was the circular nature of composting and regenerative nature of composting. Framing compost as part of something bigger, part of our local food loop and food security that helps nourish local people, helping people to see how big an impact projects like this can have. Another thing to focus on is well-being and skill building. This came up a lot more than I'd anticipated. Projects found it really successful to engage with mental health narratives and looking at how much that could help individuals' mental health and also social connection and cohesion through doing work together, building something together. Composting can be seen as quite specialized knowledge. What's really helpful is to emphasize that everybody knows little bits about it already. And the more that we're seeing this knowledge coming from lots of different people and not being this hierarchy, then the more the projects seem to be effective and engaging. Once people feel like their opinions are being heard and that they're being respected, that everybody has things that they can contribute. A lot of that is to do with language. Let's not just boil composting down to one process. Let's talk about it as regenerative, as connected to food growing, as something that's beneficial to mental health, is helpful to our ecosystems. The more that we're talking about the holistic nature of it, the more that we're going to hook different people in. A lot of that's to do with not alienating people from that space by using words that they might not be super familiar with. It's also about using language that's positive for them, that's inclusive for them, and creating low pressure ways to get involved. The final one was focusing on joy and care and possibility. It allows you to embrace all the brilliance that comes with facing challenges as well.
It includes how to deal with when things go wrong. How is that framed? How is that talked about? How is that discussed? Failure is an amazing teacher.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of the cosmic joke that we're able to find joy in the chaos, to be able to see the creation that exists within the collapse of something, which is very helpful.
It feels so connected to that transformation as well, right? We're witnessing something that would have been seen as a waste product turn into something that is incredibly valuable and nourishing. How can that not be joyful? And how can that not create hope?
How empowering to tackle the nuisance whilst creating the joy.
Something that we've done quite a lot, which may make us seem inconsistent, but constantly shifting when we run volunteer times. I know when we're organising, sometimes we want to get into a pattern where we do the same thing every week, and we miss out. If we don't deliberately include, we exclude.
Absolutely. And you see there's certain groups of people that are commonly excluded. It is really important to break up those habits.
I like your mentioning of inconsistency. It's important to remember that making art together, making amazing posters, writing zines, doing silly market stalls. These are all things that Crew Compostio have done from the last couple of years. But you can ask, why do you do all these things? If you're dealing with an interconnected world and with deeply entangled issues, a single focus is not such a useful tool.
Why is it that you've focused on stories?
Stories are an incredibly effective way of communicating because the way the human brain works, it holds on to stories. It's easier for people to pass that on again and again.
There's so much in compost to tell stories about. The shock and awe of what you're witnessing, the death and destruction and the creation and the amazing critters and the disgusting moments and the beauty of it all and the billions of organisms that you're encountering. That's rich for storytelling, isn't it?
It's allowing those opportunities to tell the diversity of stories that we have. I don't want it to just be about the stories about pests near the compost. Tell all the other beautiful, wonderful stories that we've all had with the compost.
There's a lot of work to be done in the imagination, in the visioning of compost, that it doesn't just arrive in a bag. It isn't just dead on arrival and it's just dirt, essentially.
And that the outcome for the waste, whether it's sewage works, whether it's kitchen scraps, whether it's industrial, that it isn't just a landfill or some massive treatment plant far away.
It's seeing the responsibility in all of this, and instead of seeing it as an oppressive responsibility, seeing it as an opportunity for agency within this.
We'd like to thank you so much, Ella, for bringing this research together, for speaking to all of these projects and being this catalyst to get this information out. So thank you so much.